Days strolled down memory lane. Now here's Bill Gooden.
Brother Bill, we did another thing wrong. Every time between now and the last day of registration, whenever we have a venue or a vehicle, we need some voter registration forms. This is the last election for this century. And we're making all these plans to go into the year 2000. We can't go in it if we have to. And I would suggest that if you are a registered voter, I'm not even going to tell you what party to vote for, but I will say there's no difference between a Republican and a Democrat. I'll tell you that much. But let's be on the job.
Hit your horn! Hit your horn! Hit your horn! That was a big horn coming off the little bus. That was a real big horn coming off a little bus like that. I guess they don't know what those signs mean. Responsibility. If there are teachers in school that know the truth, then you have to be condemned. How can you know the truth? Did they let you out freely? How can you know the truth? Okay, what's your name? Come on, talk to me. I'm Miss Trusty. Where you going? Oh, okay.
You're getting in line, aren't you, brother?
Pages 1 and 2 of tonight's agenda.
Bills introduced.
City Council Bill 97-408 by Councilmember Handy, an ordinance for the purpose of providing the disposition of personal property removed from certain leased premises under a warrant of restitution.
President recognizes Councilman Norman Handy, Chair of the Housing Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to you and my colleagues, I'm given to stand with a rousing rendition of Etta James's song, At Last, but I won't cause you to suffer through that. This is, however, at last, a piece of legislation coming out of the eviction chattel issue that has been before our council for a number of years. Let me invite you to join me in, as co-signatories on this piece of legislation. What it does, in effect, is to agree It is rather to codify an agreement that exists already between the property owners, the tenants organizations, etc., that those multifamily garden-type apartment units may in fact store their eviction property on their property, near, for instance, their dumpster sites, or that the property can in fact be stored on their property. It does not, I must emphatically reiterate, it does not affect property that would erstwhile be placed on city public right-of-ways or streets or sidewalks. This particular piece of legislation, again, which we have worked in our working sessions for a couple of months now to accomplish, simply refers and applies to that property which would be placed on the property owned by the manager owner of the garden type apartment. So I solicit your support, and I want to thank publicly all of the agencies and organizations who have worked so diligently to
Them that we provide tax credits for those employees that come to the city for X amount of years, and that they would have to make a commitment over that period of time to live in the city. So this is a general resolution, but the specifics of who we want to attract would be employers who locate here in the city and would attract people to live here, as well as other individuals who even work for city government, to attract them back to Baltimore City. So I am going to seek the support and ask a senator and a delegate in the House of Delegates if they would introduce this to give us the authority for next year.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let the record reflect that Council President Bell would like to be included. I'd invite all of you to be a part. I think you get in this body, you get addicted to it. You can't pull yourself away from it. I've been here for 10 years. I can't pull myself away from it. Let me also pause to note that we've been joined. We have a number of guests tonight, but I want to note at least two people I see tonight. Mr. Ernie Greco, who's president of the Metropolitan Council of AFL-CIO. And also my good friend, who is the president of the Vanguard Justice Society, Sergeant Teresa Cunningham. Saw her a little earlier. We have so many presidents here tonight. There she is. Sergeant, good to see you. Okay.
City Council Bill 97, 421 by Councilmembers Holton and Spector, a council resolution for the purpose of creating a task force to study local government regulation of small business enterprise and the effective regulation on entry-level entrepreneurship.
President recognizes
advanced degrees or high technical training or things of that nature, we certainly can begin to reduce these numbers and spur our economy in positive ways. And so that's what brought this up, to introduce this tonight and to see, hopefully, that we could get a task force created very quickly so that
would have liked to have spoken with the Taxi Cab Association. However, when this came to my attention, I was absent due to illness, and would like for them to have the opportunity to bring forth any concerns that they have about the purpose of this particular resolution that would be forwarded to the Public Service Commission, and do encourage all council members to sign on if they will.
Councilman, would it be your pleasure that we refer this to a committee to have a...
Am I right? Both of those? And it's, I don't know if there's an update on that or if somebody knows where that stands. And so that's all I rose today.
We're going to have a little briefing on that issue, too, because there's some... I understand that the people who actually have a contract to incinerate have concerns, and we need to resolve that. Can I move? Are you finished, Councilman?
Yes.
Okay. We're moving on to the 4th District. President recognizes Council Vice President Agnes Welch.
I just briefly want to say that implementation of incineration of guns, that's been negotiated, but as you know, there have been some concerns for where it would be incinerated. But in talking with the mayor, he had no problem with the public seeing this happen. I haven't had any contact or any talk with anybody about incineration of drugs, only incineration of guns. And maybe we need to come together and bring the parties that are concerned to see where we are with this. And we might figure out a way, because I'm not privy to give all the information about the companies and what they do and what the concerns are at this time. But there is dialogue being established to do just that, and have community people present. And, you know, council people, whoever wants to see it. I feel it's necessary to do it, but I got to wait till I find out if the company can do it without any legal entanglements.
Thank you, Councilwoman. President recognizes Councilwoman Sheila Dixon.
Very briefly, before the audience has gone and my council colleagues have left, this is a real victory, and I just want to read CPHA's news release in reference to Baltimore billboard ads.
This point is that there are a couple of facilities that have been incinerating guns in the city. They have concerns about involving public citizens because of liability issues that they are unwilling to assume, and in resolving that issue, as well as they want to maintain to a certain extent their anonymity as to who they are that are incinerating guns confiscated by the Baltimore City Police Department. The city has not been able to locate another incinerator facility willing to incinerate the guns, whereby we could have public citizens witness this process. As far as the drugs have been going on, my understanding is that that is a regional effort that we do, not just with Baltimore City, but with surrounding county jurisdictions as well. And there are other issues around that in terms of evidence issues to go along with that. I would also like to take a minute to comment on Friday evening. Liberty Rec Center invited the 5th District delegation out.
A wide range of issues out there having to do with trust and leadership.
We know Frazier must go.
They marched to police headquarters to protest.
We know Frazier must go.
Many feel Frazier spied on the private meeting of black commanders where Daniel's comments were made. Frazier says the comments were simply relayed to him by black commanders. Frazier presided over a major reduction, the first in years, in serious crime in Baltimore. But now his authority has been severely questioned by black leaders who say racial problems go unchecked. Leaders like Daniel, Commander Wendell France, and Commander Barry Powell.
I look out for my troops. I look out for my people.
So now the 90-day period of working together begins. But so far, it's not working quite like the mayor had planned. At City Hall, John Rawson, News Channel 2.
And the mayor says if Frazier and Daniel can't work together to solve departmental problems, they'll all be back within 90 days.
In other
when Commissioner Thomas Frazier suspended his second-in-command, Colonel Ron Daniel, for allegedly making insubordinate comments at a meeting of black officers. Today, only 11 news cameras were rolling when members of the city council, the police department, and the NAACP met behind closed doors. Their sole concern, the gaping division left by this command controversy.
There's been a historic racial problem in the Baltimore City Police Department. This is before Frazier came along, but it's escalated under his watch.
Today, Mayor, the rank and file, you would be wrong. The reaction from the police and the community was swift and strong outside City Hall. Brian Bolter is live with that part of the story. Brian?
Done earlier today in this area around City Hall. It was teeming with police, protesters, and just plain people. Ron Daniel and Commissioner Thomas Frazier have been ordered to do. It did not go over well.
Commissioner Frazier must go. Enough is enough.
There's a lot of police out here.
So, I mean, even though Colonel Daniels may have worked it out for himself, then it's obvious that he's not speaking for everybody.
After a moment of prayer, members of the Fraternal Order of Police and Vanguard, the Black Officers Association, set out to spread their unhappiness. Feeling ignored by the city's top leader, officers left Mayor Schmoke's decision behind and took its impact back to work.
We are here to serve the citizens of Baltimore. Some of my officers are here. They respect me, and that's what you need. You need respect to run a police agency. You need respect to run a police district. I have that respect. No further comment.
The African-American officers of Vanguard say their growing bond against their leadership won't affect your safety.
And if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Yet it's clear from at least the FOP's 3,100 cops, this matter isn't going away.
We'll see where we proceed from here. But this is not something that we accept. It's not something we endorse. And our position still stands, as it has since January of this year, that Commissioner Frazier must be removed from office.
You look at this. The mayor ended his press conference today with this thought. He said it's time for everyone to stop thinking about this as a white or black officer issue, but think of them all as a blue team. He said that especially goes for the officers themselves.
Resolution asking for Frazier's removal.
The mayor's decision was greeted with a protest march on police headquarters by more than 100 officers and community leaders.
It's the colonel, who is the highest-ranking African-American in this agency, can be just intimidated, retaliated against. What in the world will happen to the rank and file?
I don't think it resolves the situation. I don't think this department, I think we've known for some time that the rank and file did not have confidence in the leader of this department.
I am somewhat hopeful that for both parties, there will be some discovery of common ground.
For the night team, Dennis Edwards, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Chief Frazier and Colonel Daniel were advised by the mayor not to talk to the media until they said no.
I have a rich and noble history. How painful and exploited that history has been in America. Yes, I was a slave through my foreparents, and I am ashamed of that. But I am ashamed of the people who were sinful to make me a slave. Yes, we must stand up and say, I am black, I am beautiful, and this self-affirmation is the black man's need made compelling by the white man's crimes against me. Does that sound like reality or virtual reality?
Reality.
It sounds like reality. But in case you really didn't have any misconceptions about what Dr. King was saying, he said, my brothers and sisters, look at what James Weldon Johnson said to us in our creed we call the Negro National Anthem. And he concluded this speech by saying, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over the way that tears have been watered, that we come treading our paths through the blood of the slaughter. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the bright gleam of our bright star cast. Dr. King was not fooled by America's games and flip trips and propaganda and all the shenanigans. The problem is, I don't think we heard his message to us. And so as we talk about virtual reality, we need to think about where we are today. Are we really living in the real world of today? I say to you, my brothers and sisters, as long as we are divided as a people and are not united, we are not living in reality. We're living in virtual reality.
That's right.
Because the scripture says, as Dr. King said, a house divided cannot stand.
That's right.
As long as we are not going out in our community and challenging injustice as Dr. King just, then that's what Brother Wiggins said, we can walk that walk, but we can't talk that talk. And Dr. King said, I can walk that walk because something is not worth dying for, is not worth living for, and I'm prepared to give it all for my people. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you're really pumped out.
Yes.
That's the reality,
That's
not
right.
virtual reality.
That's right.
So I want to conclude my remarks by saying, Dr. King, as the poet said, we won't forget you. We can never forget you. I know that on many days in January, we go out and celebrate your birth, but Jesus said not celebrate my birth, but celebrate my death, because that is the sacrifice that we must never forget.
Yes, sir.
So I say to Dr. King, as we go into another 21st century, we are going to be free, and we're going to say it for you, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty.
Free at last.
We got there, but the next fight was happening. Getting it on the way. Making sure it had everything it needs. The police department. You heard about what's going on within the police department. Sergeant Lewis Hobson has been out there with Don Reed, Sergeant Richards, for years, making the connection for us between what happens in there to them. Sergeant Knight, what happens, and Sergeant Cunningham was here. Sergeant Cunningham
community, in our own community. And too often, that's the truth. We are. And what you say about it is true. And when you go out there and stand for righteousness, you stand alone. So when you go out and you speak on issues that are controversial in our community, and they have negative impact on the institution you represent, you really stand alone. So when you have your battery discharged, and you're out there spending your time and energy trying to teach the gospel as you see it, you need to come home somewhere and get your battery charged. So I needed this today. So I thank you. I'm part of the Vanguard Justice Society. I say part because my heart is where Vanguard is. I happen to be blessed to be the leader at the time. But I had a leader before me. My sister Cunningham. Member to become president of the organization. The Vanguard Justice Society was established in 1971. It was established on the hard.
I feel as though truly in my heart, my son was cold-bloodedly murdered.
Today's forum was sponsored by a group called Unity for Action. Tonight, Anne Arundel County Police are looking for a rapist. Now, this is a composite sketch of the suspect. Police say he carjacked a student in the Meade High School parking lot. He then took her to a remote location and raped her. The attack happened Thursday before class at the school. Call Anne Arundel County Police if you have any information. A former teacher is in trouble tonight. Gary Lee Russell taught at Old Court Middle School in Baltimore County. Tonight, he's on probation for sending child pornography over the internet. Russell was charged and resigned just before the end of the last school year. Tonight, a New Mexico middle schooler is dead after a school shooting yesterday. Araceli Tina died today at a hospital in El Paso.
But he's nice.
Cordova is under arrest. Police are still trying to figure out a motive for the shooting. A private school is under fire tonight for holding a gun raffle as a fundraiser. For $10, buyers get a shot to win these 5 hunting guns. Halifax, North Carolina school officials say hunting is
in the bear trap to say, I can't believe you're in the bear trap, because they could turn to us and say, why didn't you explain to me how a bear trap works? Why didn't you explain to me how it was set up, how they camouflage it, how they cover it up? Nowhere in this nation, and I guarantee you this, having just left Chicago, nowhere in this nation do we have a program where we're teaching young people COINTELPRO. We are preaching to them about COINTELPRO, but they don't need any more preaching, they need some teaching. Nowhere in this country have we broken down COINTELPRO 101, because we all know about it, so when we discuss it, we just nod our head, but they don't know what it is. You have to understand that these young people were born in the 70s and in the 80s, and they don't even know what the acronym COINTELPRO stands for, and they're afraid to ask you, because whenever they do, you talk down to them. We've got to stop preaching so much and start teaching. Now, preaching will get you large churches, it'll get you large audiences in your churches, because you're appealing to the emotions of black people. Right? You can have women's night at the church and men's night, and you can appeal to women's problem, and you can appeal to the men's problem, but you ain't teaching nothing. You're appealing to people's emotions instead of their intellect. And only intellect will change the condition that we're in. Intellect and strategy will change the condition we're in. All that emotional stuff is fine. Right? I'm in love with Motown and Marvin Gaye and all that. Let's make love tonight, and all that kind of stuff is fine. But we need some strategy, and that requires intellect. That requires that walking out this door and putting together a plan. Sitting down with Bill Gooden and say, okay, Bill, I'm with Unity for Action. What do you want me to do? Because he can't do it all. Senator Mitchell can't do it all. Sergeant Hobson can't do it all. I can't do it all. But organization, and Bill says this over and over again, and I really wish someone would hear him. Organization is the only thing that's going to create progress. We have to organize and delegate. I have to say, Senator Mitchell, you deal with the police brutality issue. I'm going to deal with the education issue in the schools. And we have to delegate. Then we can come together. But when one single person try to do everything, you get a whole lot of nothing done. Organization, delegation, and a nation. That's the concept of Malcolm X. In closing, the Nation of Islam was truly a nation. The FBI, in its document, said that in 1964, the Nation of Islam was the most powerful economic force in the United States. It said it had 421 independent schools across the nation. That's what they said, that what Malcolm and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing, they were organizing and creating things, not the rhetoric. You heard the rhetoric, but you didn't see the work. This is what they had put together. So much so that in 1969, the FBI sent out a communication saying that any parent who send their child to one of the Nation of Islam schools must be investigated. The Nation of Islam had children at preschool level reading on a 5th grade level. And all that has been destroyed. And now we wonder why we have what we have in our community today. The government destroyed it with the counterintelligence program. This is what Malcolm stood for. Live the legacy of Malcolm. All the other accolades Malcolm didn't care about. You don't have to burn a cake for him or sing happy.
I would just like to take a couple minutes to say this. And I have to continue to say this, the purpose of Unity for Action. Our purpose as an organization is to constantly try to bring coalitions together. We recognize the reality that the only way that we can have some strength is that we be united. And far too often what happens to us is this. We give our power away. What do I mean when I say we give our power away? Why politicians so often don't work in our behalf? Because we give our power to them and not make them accountable to us. It's a sad day when you have a politician who you put in office have more allegiance to corporate America than they have to the people who they're supposed to represent. So what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is this. When we say unity for action, we say we're unifying ourselves so we can take the action to create the change that's going to be a benefit for the children that's here and the children that's to come. And if we don't, then we have to blame ourselves for some of the misery and the suffering that's reaping our people. Let me just close on this. I know at least for 3 or 4 years we have put a resolution passed for City Council known as Resolution 282. And the reason I'm telling you this is this. This resolution was passed 19-0 by City Council, with the mayor being supportive of it. This resolution called for saying that citizens should have an opportunity to witness the incineration process of all the weapons and drugs confiscated by the police department. Why? Because we're saying that a lot of them drugs resurface back into our community, causing suffering, misery, and death. Now, my question is this. How can City Council, 19-0, with the mayor being the executive of the city, support this and it can't get done? It can't get done, brothers and sisters, because there's too many people making money from the drug industry. That's why we're supposed to be 12 to 15% of this nation's population, but we're about 65% of the prison industry, but 80%. He normally makes the trip from Washington, D.C., come down and be with us. A lot of us that listen to talk radio, at least when C. Miles was here, and you heard this brother always arguing about issues. But sometimes we need brothers to always be arguing, just like we're doing, so that we can be connected to what's happening in Washington. Because sometimes we may think things happening different in Washington and different here in Baltimore, when in reality we're taking the same kind of help. So I would just like to bring this here brother up to say a few words to us and thank him very much for always making time to come down and be with us, Brother Walter Jackson.
I want to say thanks for being here to everybody, especially the white people. It's important that you understand that that was the conversion in Malcolm's life that got him killed. When he realized that he needed y'all help too, to talk to y'all people. Right now, I want to talk to y'all too about y'all people. Right now in D.C., we face a very devastating election that gives like 80% of the tax breaks to the white people. Now, there's a few black people who's going to benefit from that plan, but this is how they did it, folks. They divided and then they conquered. And that's what's going to happen to you here in Baltimore. You got a mayoral election coming up, and I don't care who you're for, you're going to have to get with your various cliques.
There's a lady again I met while we was on the campaign trail, and we supported her, and we felt that as an organization we had made a good choice. She ran for a judgeship, Paige Carter.
up, so bear with me. I did run for judge last summer, and I ran because I perceived a lot of problems in our circuit court, a lot of incompetence, a lot of laziness. It was no surprise to me with the big circuit court mess in Baltimore City, what has occurred. I was also found it interesting that the Baltimore Sun, who had no interest whatsoever in the judge's race, is now pontificating all over the place about the problems without taking any responsibility for its own role. I want to say this about my campaign for judge.
But I would like to bring up a lady. And again, y'all, please try to keep the comments to 2 minutes because there's several people we need to acknowledge. This young lady we met while we was out there in Crusade in the cemetery around the horrors that's happening in Mount Auburn Cemetery, which was at one point the only black cemetery, I think, for this state. Mr. Colby.
Good evening. I really just came in this evening just to socialize. It's been a very difficult 2 years for me, and I had not seen Eric nor Bill in that 2-year period because I've been very busy traveling throughout the United States and Canada fighting for regulation over the death industry. It all started right here in Maryland in regards to the death of a loved one, and I'm not going to that story. But the second year that I was involved in the fight with Mount Auburn, I met Bill and Eric, and I have great love and support for them because they're so diligent in whatever they do. Nothing can happen unless you're diligent and determined to achieve it. I've begun to use certain themes on my stationery. One is, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
The second that I use, you can tell a county, a city, or a state by the way they treat their dead. It's written that when this issue came before the FTC in 1994, they had 50 letters from consumers. Well, guess what? This time we're looking at 50,000. And guess what? I am trying to get a bus from every state in the union to arrive in Washington, D.C. this fall. I will be giving Eric that information. I will be giving it to Bill. I will give the necessary places that you will send these letters to. Call your senators, call your congresspersons, let them know you've heard Jacoby speak and she's serious about what she does. I am very sorry that Mr. Mitchell left. He met my big mouth in Annapolis. When we got the House Bill 559 passed in the state of Maryland, it had been before the state legislature 18 times and nothing ever happened. But I'm here to tell you, my second year of the crusade, we had that passage of that bill, and we now have a cemetery office of oversight. So don't take dying lightly. You are paying $1,000 to $1,500 for an opening and closing, which they only pay the diggers $10 an hour, and it takes them less than an hour for 4 men to do it. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Don't take it lightly. Eric, Bill, I could go on and on. I love you both. I know your time is very short, but please get in touch with them in reference to what's happening through the FTC.
Next person, you're talking about victories. One of the victories that we have made in this city, and all of us should give ourselves a big applause, that it's the people who made the Civilian Review Board become a reality. During that process, we met a brother, Sergeant Lewis Hobson, that was fighting discrimination in the police department, standing up with issues with us against the police department. And we stood with issues with him.
You big in my eyes, bro.
The first thing I want to do is thank you.
You don't like no damn.
I met Bill and Eric in Unity for Action in my place. And I'll say this. Man, they are some determined people. I remember sitting in a couple years ago, sitting in the FOP office, or FOP convention, where they had several hundred police officers, both black and white. And the subject of police review board was broached. And it was a no-no just to even mention it. And I remember Bill and them saying, well, we're going to win this. And I looked and I said, man, don't you know what they got on the other side? They got legislators. They got big money in their pocket. What they didn't have was the will to win. That's right. And I saw Bill win this. I saw Eric win. I saw him every day. When everybody else wasn't looking, when everybody else was going home, I saw them every Monday. I saw them beating up the council people. I saw them beating up the state senators, beating up the delegates. But I want to use my time real quick just to say this, especially about police. And what I really want you to understand and want you to know, we got a lot of good police officers in this city, both black and white. And and the problem is, it's policy versus program. It's also the fact that we don't really understand our police department. We don't understand that we get a lot of federal dollars and a lot of money from the police department that we don't have any say where that money goes. What I wanted to say was, there's an organization called PERF. PERF stands for Police, that stands for Police Executive Research Forum. What that is, it's like a star chamber. It's made up of a group of individuals who determine policies that are in effect in all the policing agencies in the United States. In fact, they work very closely with the federal government and get millions and millions of dollars in federal grants and money. Now, how is that important to you? Some of the policing programs that affect you directly, indirectly, come from PERF. The president of PERF is Commissioner Thomas Craig. The key is this: you got to follow the money trail. You got to understand why the policies are in effect. You got to understand why these young men out here are getting stopped and getting killed. Why these police officers are killing these young men on these car stops. You understand the program to put these car stops into place. These car stops, they're getting federal dollars to make these car stops, to snatch guns off the street. So if you got a unit out there, you got to show results. That means, you know, it goes right down to the officers that's in these specialized units. They've got to go out there and make these arrests. That's right. So they're snatching everybody. And let me tell you something. I'm a three-time winner police officer of the year, 18-year veteran. There's not an award I've ever won in Baltimore City Police Department. As I say, I ain't no punk, I ain't no coward. But I'm telling you, plain and simple, Baltimore City Police Department, all the policies are old, outdated, and unless you get into that system, unless you get actively involved, unless you demand changes. Because when Commissioner Frazier came here, let me tell you something. Those police officers can beat you to death right now for nice things and be justified. How many of us seen the Roger King beat? We all see that. And everybody said, man, that was wrong, man. That's horrible, man. You know, that was wrong. But what you fail to see, and what they kept saying in the court was, that was the training. That was my training. That's what I was trained to do. And we missed that. But let me tell you something. You realize we have the same type of training here, called Pt.1 training, in Baltimore City. Commissioner Frazier, what they're training here. He's called Pt.1 training. You can actually
among you today. You are spirit-filled people, and I personally am very energized. But now we have to take this energy out to the streets. Baltimore is our village, and we cannot allow anyone to corrupt and destroy our village. You know, I've read about Malcolm X, and I don't know a lot about him, but there's one saying that has always struck me, and that is something that I like to try to live by, and it is, if you're not part of the solution, you are the problem. And I think we are a solution.
It's all about unity. It's something for all of us to do. That's why we're here right now doing it right now. So let's continue the struggle and look out and make that telephone call or write those letters because it's so important. Thank you so much.
Again, brother, what I'd like to keep saying is please keep your comments real brief because we want to acknowledge still several people and we're going to start the door prior to 10. But I was looking for Sister Nzinga, but I guess we bring Ken Morgan up right before Sister Nzinga. Oh, there's Sister Nzinga. Yes, we do. Sister Nzinga, whatever issue it is, political prisoners, police corruption, or whatever, WEAA has been a vehicle.
That's right.
For many of us to use and certain things Sister Nzinga from.
What's that?
Assalamu alaikum. How y'all doing?
How you doing?
WEAA means We Educate African Americans. It's not funny, that's what it means.
That's right.
We Educate African Americans.
That's right.
And because of that motto, this June it'll be 18 years.
That's right.
That I've been trying to bring the information to brothers and sisters when other radio stations just won't let you do it. I met this brother, I met Eric, and I met a whole bunch of you at the organization of the Million Man March. And every time I hear people say, well, what was the march about? What did it accomplish? What happened? We can't see what happened. That's because you're not looking. You're not looking, you're not listening, and evidently you're not doing anything.
That's right.
I can sincerely say that I believed in Unity for Action from its inception. And there are two people out there that I'd like to acknowledge, not only as my elders, but as a catalyst for why we came together. And that's the aunt and uncle of James Quarles.
That's right.
Right here. It just so happens every day, sit in the corner, get a cup of beer, sit there and try to sell his socks. He did not want to buy his socks. He had very little to say. But he always had, you knew the boy came from, and I'm saying boy not in a derogatory way, I'm saying it because I'm somebody's mother, and I can do that. But he was, you could tell he came from good stock. You could tell somebody had raised that.
One of the things that attracted me to Unity for Action was the specific struggle around the Quarles case. And that struggle and the way it was presented was, in my estimation, a part of what the legacy of Malcolm X. We continue to talk about the legacy of Malcolm X. And that was independent political action. Independent political action led by the people. That's right. Not by the politicians, not by some folks from somewhere else, but by everyday working people. And that struggle continues. That's right. It continues because it is a part of the legacy of what Malcolm X stood for. Now, Malcolm made a lot of speeches. There were
It's about all of us in this room. It's about the fight to end police killings. It's about the fight to get decent wages and working conditions, to uplift the community, to bring about unity of all people. The fact that there are people of all nationalities in this room, people from the Korean community who've also suffered, people from obviously the African American community who suffered the most with racism, and even other working poor white people. So I think Bill represents that kind of unity and that kind of fight that's going to bring justice for all of us, and it's those issues that are really at stake. So I think the campaign's about all of us. Yes. So on to
I'd like to acknowledge Sister Verna Jones, delegate. And also a brother that stepped out, and I hope he's stepping back in soon, Brother Don Smith, strong brother in Baltimore, community. At this time, I'd like to bring up the leading voice in the local organizing community of the Baltimore branch of LOC, Erica Harris. Hopefully will be a delegate too.
Good evening, everyone. Like he said, I am co-chair of the Baltimore Local Organizing Committee, and we are a group who organized the Million Man March, and we're still doing some continuous things. As you know, upcoming is the Million Youth March, which one is going to be held in New York and one is going to be held in Atlanta. So we're helping support those. Definitely, I'm a supporter of Bill Goodman. Started out years and years ago, and also in the Park Heights community. I see some of the people that we had ventured in the stores. Bill had came to me with this brilliant idea that he felt as though because Park Heights was a community of merchants, that these merchants could provide jobs for the community, especially merchants who took 100% of their dollars from the community, and it would be a way for them to give back. As me and Bill went through the community, we found that the merchants themselves had the same idea. They just did not have a process in which they could participate to provide employment. So Bill decided that, okay, we'll go to the Urban League and maybe NAACP and some of the other organizations who had already established where you can find people that was looking for employment. So that idea, I think, went well. Then the second idea Bill had was a brilliant idea. He said, okay, the community needs representation of the people who really care about the community. We need to come out, if it's nothing but walk up and down the street and let people see the people that's truly concerned about their concerns. So along with him and his brother, we all got together, and we also knew that the area had drug problems. So we said, not only will we come out and we will let them know that we care about them, we will come out with a solution to the drug problems. So what Bill decided that would be so great if we brought those facilities who offered help to drug abuse victims, whether it was to send them away or counseling and everything. He actually brought them to the community, and we set up tables on various corners as we marched up and down Park Heights. And as the brothers and sisters saw us march up and down Park Heights, and their heart opened to
running for the House of Delegates to represent the 44th legislative district, which is central Baltimore, and it's an area which is very diverse. Some of the diversities aren't as positive as we'd like to lift up, but they're there. And there are some of the deepest seats of poverty in Baltimore City, but yet we have the highest concentrate of commerce in the Baltimore metropolitan area. And someone has said, never will the two meet. And so my candidacy is a candidacy of hope, help, and healing to try.
He does go, he's oriented on doing things and not just talk. He and I went down to Annapolis together to speak in front of the Senate. They had a hearing down there for the review board, and that's when we found how we needed to do to fight for this thing. And that's the course that we take. Some gentleman I heard on the air talking bill say, well, you should come on with a plan. Well, we have a plan. And I think Eric was on there. And you don't have to have from A to Z to get something started. As long as you start with A and take that first step. Who's made that statement? I can't remember, but we all heard of that. The first step, and the first step has been made. And so, although it may take some time to get this review board, we will stay the course. And as a matter of fact, a lot of things that we've been talking about for years, Bill has been instituted. I mean, he's been trying to do things in education, and you can't do them all, but he's been making an attempt. So as far as somebody to go down in Annapolis, I think he's a perfect candidate because he's a person that's going to try to do something in the community. And anything that anybody gains in the community, we all gain in the community. And that's the attitude that you have to take. I hear people say, well, I paid my dues. Man, you hadn't paid 1 cent of dues yet, man, until we start this stuff with these little kids that don't have the ability or don't have the facilities to play like we used to do, play hopscotch and all that stuff. They can't play in the street. Until when you see every little kid in Baltimore City, any city in the country, that can go out there and play in the street and be safe, then you say you pay your dues. Tell them, stick with Bill, that's the man.
2 years ago, I met Bill Gooden across the street on the battle lines against an unscrupulous merchants. Since then, we formed an organization called Unity for Action. I'd like to acknowledge Sister Pat Ralph, who just came in, who's one of the strong backbones. We formed Unity for Action to become a coalition builder, to reach out to the LOC, the Korean community, the Universal African American People Organization, our politicians, the All People's Congress, even people who work alone, like Brother Don Smith, but it's an integral part of our community. And he wears that badge proudly. I don't work alone anymore. But meeting Bill stimulated my activism even more, and I've been able to meet people like Sister Nadine, Sister Phyllis, Brother Tyrone, Liz, Sharon, Brother Joe, Sister Michelle, and he's my brother. Nate's delegate from the 43rd District, Bill Gooden.
First of all, I would just like to thank everybody for being here, coming out, so I can publicly make this announcement. Fred Hill, which is the owner of Woodstock, I certainly appreciate all his support and his as well as Aaron made mention that Fred is the treasurer. But a couple things I would like to say. When you make a decision to run, people make a decision for different reasons. I've always been one to believe this, that the people here need to hear the truth, irregardless of what their position be or what they decide to do. And the truth is that politics work for the people when the people get involved in the process. And as long as the people not involved in the process, it don't make no difference who you send. Their hands gotta be tied because it's a game.
All right.
You know, sometimes I know it's hard when you try and get people to support you to tell people the truth. That's one thing that I promised and I pledged during this canvassing is that I'm going to tell the truth as I understand the truth.
All right. All right, Bill.
Even though I'm running for delegate in 43rd District, which is on the east side, and this is not the 43rd District where we at. Park Heights community has been a good community for myself. I've struggled in the Park Heights community. I love the Park Heights community. And it was appropriate that since Fred is the treasurer, that we kick this off in the Park Heights community. So I just want to thank the people of the Park Heights community for supporting me, some of the Korean merchants that have supported me, some of the black merchants that have supported me. Because regardless of the problems that we think that we have, I always say, the biggest problem we have is the ruling class playing a game to keep us fighting amongst ourselves when we can't get nothing done, and that's the real problem. All right? Then secondly, I know it's important that people kind of need to hear some other issues and some other concerns that you're concerned about when you're talking about prevention, is that if we want changes, then there's two ways to make changes, as I see it. We can always wish for changes and hope that when God decides to do it, it's going to happen. And that's true. When God decides to do it, it is going to happen. Or either we don't have to wait for God. And we can do some other things for ourselves by being active to make a difference. You know? And I think the most important thing is that a lot of people have lost hope. I mean, this has to be a part of this here campaign is about. We have to restore hope in the people. Yes. People have to believe that they can affect change, that they can make change. Right. Because when you think that you can't make no change, you don't do the things that you need to try to create change. Right. We're talking about the businesses in our community. You know, now, and again, I want to thank the Koreans that's here. A lot of times our perception is that we fighting against the Koreans. But the truth is that we can't really blame people for trying to better their life when we hadn't done what we need to do to create businesses for ourselves. So what we need to do, we need to have partnerships with whoever's in our community and relationships so we can start building our community to better our community. Yes. You know, a lot of times we put too much hope in this system like the police. Yes. Hey, you know, it's not about me. Because personally, in some sense, I don't give a about politics, but I care about the people. And if we care about the people, we live in a political process. It don't make no difference what nobody say. We have to have some political strength because all our decisions is about politics from the time we're born to the time we die. And this is what this campaign is about. I know it's going to be a whole bunch of them out there that say, Bill Clinton can't win, they ain't going to give me the endorsements, I'm not going to get the big money from the corporations, but that's okay. Because our whole